Well, we've been studying the judgment seat of Christ, as you know, and I'm going to give you a couple of thoughts here today that I think would really help you in this matter. I think it's probably one of the most important subjects that we can study from the Bible to help us to prepare from what we're going to be facing in this matter at the rapture when we're taken up and we have to stand before the Lord at that judgment seat. Now, here's the easiest, I really believe this all in my heart. Here's the easiest way for you to remember the judgments of God in the Scriptures. I would recommend highly, if you would, or if you want to, or if you have a good memory, memorize it. But the 5 different judgments that I'm going to speak to you, I have put in a order of all starting with the word S, or the letter S, so that it's easy to remember. The first one is, the first judgment of God is the judgment of sin. And that was done on Calvary by Christ. The judgment of sin. That was the first judgment that God makes in the New Testament, the judgment of sin. And he judged Christ for our sin. The second one is the judgment of society. Remember the nations and so forth. But here's what I want to say. That's the reason why we're seeing what we are seeing here in America today, in our society. God's judging America right now. And our society is being judged. Now listen to this. I really believe this with all my heart. And that is this. The judgment of society includes the immorality that we're committing all over our nation with no restraints whatsoever. And God's not going to if God is holy and God is righteous and God is pure like he says he is, he's going to judge the society for the immoral acts that they perform in their life. And America is being judged by society or by the Lord because of the society type that we're living in. He's going to judge society not only because of immorality, but because of the crime and that the criminals are being unpunished. He's going to judge society because of the homosexuals. Did he judge them in the Old Testament? He not only judged them, he had them killed. He had them put to death. And he even states in the Old Testament to get rid of all the sodomites, which were the homosexuals. And then he's going to judge society not only because of immorality, crime, and homosexuality, but because of what's going on with this matter of the genders. He's made man and he's made woman, and God doesn't want us to have the changing of the genders. That's the way he made them. Is he the one that's the author of all creation of humanity? So he made whoever gets born a male or a female, and he doesn't want it changed because he's the one that decided which one would be the male and the female. So he's going to judge society because of what's going on in our country today. God's not going to put up with this. And he's going to judge society, not only that, because we have a land full of atheists. I told my son yesterday, I said, I've been preaching for years, and I've been right on target in this area, that God's going to have to judge our country because we, a country, have allowed to come into the educational system, our colleges, our universities, and all of our schools and all of our education. Allowed those to come in who were perverted, socialists also, communists as well, and they're instructing and teaching what we're seeing today happen. I started preaching this way back in the 80s, maybe even the later 70s, that this is what's going to happen to America because we have in our colleges professors that are instilling in those students socialism and communism and wickedness and America needs to be defeated and that type of thing. Look what we have today. Yes, sir. I'm not right on everything, but I was right on that thing. Yes, sir. Because that's the problem we're facing today. And then not only the judgment of society because of immorality, crime, homosexuality, genders, atheists, but also mistreating Israel. I'll bless them that bless thee and curse them that curse thee. And America is cursing Israel. And God said, I'll bring a curse on the society that curses my people, my land, Israel. So here we are. Let me get you to think about one more. He'll judge us for the abortion. That's right. Killing innocent babies. So all I'm trying to get you to see is the hand of judgment of God is, first of all, done on Calvary for our sins by Jesus. So the judgment of sin, then there's the judgment of society, then there's the judgment of sinners. So you have sin on Calvary, our society today, and sinners, which simply means the great white throne judgment. There's going to be the judgment on those that never got saved, and at the great white throne judgment are going to be nothing but sinners. They're not going to be the saints. There's going to be the sinners, and that's going to be a judgment. So you got the judgment of sin, the judgment of society, the judgment of sinners, and then the fourth one is the judgment of saints. That's us. And that's, of course, as you know, the judgment seat of Christ and so forth. And by the way, look, and not only that, the judgment of saints is happening to us, each one of us, daily. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Go to the book of Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12, because we don't get away with our sin today, even though we're saved. God brings something to our lives that causes us to be reminded of what we did so that we can confess it and get it right with him. But look at this. I could call this the judgment of saints or the judgment as sons, but look with me at chapter 12 of Hebrews and verse number 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening, which is another word for judgment. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. Oh, so there's going to come judgment to the saints, the sons of God? Yeah, through the matter of chastening. And then look at verse number 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. Oh, so who does he love? He loves his people, right? So whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. Do you understand what a scourge was? They scourged Jesus, right? They put him on a pole. They took the cat o' nine tails. They whipped him with that cat o' nine tails until he was in very much pain. He was scourged. Now, does this say that the Lord loves us as his sons? And when we sin here, even though we're here on this earth and alive, that he'll chasten us and scourge us? You ever wonder why certain things happen to you? Check it out. There might be something in your life that the Lord's trying to get your attention on that you can confess, get it right so he can relieve you from the scourging that he's causing on you. Let's go on. Watch this. Look at verse 7. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? In other words, my sons, you've heard my son Matt preach about the times that I would take him in the bedroom, have him bite the pillow and take my belt off, and I'd spank him, and I would that to all my kids. I did all my girls as well. And it probably wasn't as bad as maybe he let on to be, but they would get a chastening, you know? And so it says here that the Father will chasten them. And so we have a Father, and he's going to chasten us because we are his son. Look at verse 8. But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. In other words, you got a profession that you're one of his, but you don't have the chastisement that a genuine, really true Christian has. Then you're illegitimate, like he uses the word the bastards here. Then look at verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he, Jesus, for our profit, that we might be partakers of his what? So why do certain things happen to us? Not everything that ever happens to us that's an accident or whatever is not necessarily a chastening, but there are a lot of things that God does in chastening that we need to acknowledge and view and find out if there's something in my life that the Lord is trying to spank me to get my attention so that I'll get it right and taken care of and have him be able to accept my asking for forgiveness. Now look at verse 11. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous. Boy, is that the truth. But grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Wherefore, lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet. In other words, the path and the journey that you're traveling on this earth, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, let it rather be healed. And then, of course, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord, looking diligently lest any man fall of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. So all I'm saying is I wanted to show you that in the Bible, because not only is there the judgment of sin taking place on Calvary, not only is there the judgment of society that God's bringing on even America, and not only is there a judgment of sinners that's going to take place at the great white throne judgment, but there's a judgment of God on we as his saints on this earth as we're making our journey toward heaven. God is not going to let us get by with our sin. He's going to spank us. He's going to chasten us. It could be a health issue. It could be a family issue. It could be a financial issue, whatever it is. But God's going to chasten us for not being right with him. He's going to judge us here on this earth. Why is he doing that? So that we can stay straight for the next judgment that's going to come, and that's the judgment seat of Christ. So there's the judgment of sin, society, sinners, and saints. But now, the judgment of servants. He judges us by chasing us now so that we'll become better servants, and that when we stand before him at the great white at the judgment seat of Christ, we will have rewards that we'll be thankful of, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that right now, but let me just show you the judgment of servants real quickly again. Go to Romans chapter 14 and verse 10. I want you to see it because I know you believe the Bible, and I'm glad that you do. Chapter 14 of Romans and verse number 10. But why dost thou judge thy brother? Or why dost thou set at naught thy brother? This statement here. For we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. We are going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, no doubt about it. Either that or we need to rip that out of the Bible, throw it in a trash can, but that's not going to destroy that truth either by doing that, because it's still written in heaven. And then look at verse, if you will, look over 1 Corinthians chapter 3, or no, 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Let's go there first. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, and I'll just read this one more, and then we'll go to the main thought I want to get to here. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5, and look again at verse number 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ. Now, do you understand the impact of that? We must. We must. We must. There's no way to get away from it. We must all, every person, every Christian, appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that which he hath done, whether it be good or bad. Will be rewarded for the good and will be withheld from the good and receive the bad, which is, of course, a shame that we didn't do better. So I said all that to say, the judgment of sin, all starting with an S. The judgment of sin, the judgment of society, the judgment of sinners, the judgment of saints, and the judgment of servants. God's going to judge us and is judging us and will continue to do so. Now, Let me just tell you this, and I want you to get this. Think about it with me, because I spent a lot of time this week going through the scriptures and wrote down some things that I think would be helpful to you to understand even more. But did you know that our service, because the judgment of servants is what we're to do, our service is trusted to us. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, watch it. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, our service is trusted to us. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, look at verse 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse number 10. According to the grace of God, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now, if any man build upon this foundation, gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, and stubble. But I just trying to get you to see that our service is trusted to us, and it's given to us to build upon that foundation. God said, I've laid the foundation. You now got saved. You're on the foundation. Now I trust you to build on that foundation. How are you building? So not only, now I want you to get this. Our service is trusted to us, but also our services are tested by him. It's trusted to us, but it's tested by him. How's it tested? Right there, verses 13 through 15. Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. He's testing us. If any man's work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. So the Lord trusts us to build on that foundation, but the Lord tests us to see how we did build. Does that make sense to you? It's in the Bible, and I know it does make sense to you. So he's trusted you with the foundation, which is Jesus Christ, to build thereon, and the foundation is solid because it's Christ. That foundation is not going to move, but the structure that you build on that foundation is going to be tested. Are you building with gold, silver, and precious stones, or are you building with wood, hay, and stubble? And when he tests it, what's going to happen of what you built on that foundation? I don't know about you folks, but honest to God, that grips my heart. I've been born again, I'm saved, I'm on my way to heaven. Jesus Christ is my foundation. But what have I done in these last 60 years to build on that foundation? How much shame will I suffer? Because he has trusted me with the foundation, and now he's going to test me as to what I built on that foundation. Whew. Now let me give you a description here. I think that you'll understand this. I hope you will. But the different things that we build on the foundation, like he said, gold, silver, and precious stones, and so forth, and wood, hay, and stubble, we will build on our foundation either, now listen carefully, we'll build on our foundation either by choice materials, and the choice materials, which are the best materials, are gold, silver, and precious stone. Or we'll build on our foundation cheap materials, which are wood, hay, and stubble. You see a lot of people that do a lot of things, but it's all wood, hay, and stubble. So we're either building with choice materials like the gold, silver, and precious stones, or we're building with cheap materials like wood, hay, and stubble. I don't know about you, but this really speaks to my heart and causes me every once in a while when I'm studying things like this and God gets a hold of this truth in my own heart, I have to get off my chair where I'm studying and get on my knees. And just ask God to reveal to me where I didn't build properly or whatever I can do to make it right. knowing that I'm going to stand before him. And here's what I want you to see in reference to the choice of the good materials, gold, silver, and precious stones, or the cheap materials. Listen to this. You know this because you went probably through the tabernacle with me. Let's take the first thing, which are the choice materials. Gold. Gold in your Bible speaks of Christ's maturity and his deity. Maturity meaning that he was God. There was no beginning with God. He was mature, always God. But also gold speaks of his deity, that he is God. Now, why would he put that down as one of the choice materials, as putting down gold? Because we better build on God. God better be the one that we're building on and building for. And so here we have gold referring to his deity. Now, you were there all the time that we went through the tabernacle, and you saw all the every area, like the mercy seat, solid gold. And all of the things inside the tabernacle itself were of gold. But here's what I'm trying to get you to see. He's trying to represent himself in these areas to us, that he is the one that we're working through, working for, working to. I love what this says. Now, this speaks of it. Gold speaks of his person, his deity. Now, listen to this. What's the next thing he mentions there? Silver. Now, silver refers to his passion. Gold refers to his position. No, I'm sorry, his person. And now what I want you to see here is gold referring to his person, then that means that silver refers to his passion. What was his passion? We sing it all the time. Redeemed, how I love to proclaim it. Redeemed by what? The blood of the Lamb. That's his passion. He shed his blood for us. And silver is in reference to redemption all the way through your Bible. When we went through the tabernacle, we saw everything that was silver, how it referred to redemption. So no wonder God puts it in the Bible when we are going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, and the first thing he makes reference to is gold, which speaks of his person, and then he makes reference to silver, which speaks of his passion, that he loves us. Amen. He redeemed us. Did you know that he wants you to build on that foundation because you love him? And he wants us to express our love to him like he expressed his love to us, that he by passion died on that cruel cross for us. So silver speaks of his passion, that we're redeemed by his blood. And then watch this. Not only is gold his person, deity, and not only is silver his passion, redemption, but precious stones. Precious stones refers to his position. So you have his person, you have his passion, and you have his position, all in how we're to build. Now, what is the Lord's position? What is his position? Let me show you something. Go to Revelation chapter 4. Go to Revelation chapter 4. What position is Christ in right now? Revelation chapter 4, the pastor's been speaking on the book of Revelation. Let me just emphasize what he's probably no doubt already covered, and maybe sometimes we forget some of these scriptures, but look at Revelation chapter 4. And this is the passage where we have verse number 1, where he says, come up hither, which up hither means speaking to going up to heaven. And now watch this. Verse 3. And he that sat, where was he sitting? He was sitting on the throne, because I'm going to read it to you. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow around about the what? That's his position. And what does it make reference to about his position? In sight like unto an emerald. So you have a jasper, a sardine stone, and an emerald right there in his position. And what is the third thing that we're to build on? Precious stones. Yeah. Why? Because of his position where we're going to be going and meeting him on the throne. Yes. You understand what I'm trying to get you? Gold is his person, deity. Silver is his passion, redeemed us. And precious stones is his position on the throne. And we take the judgment seat of Christ so lightly, and he's telling us how to build on that. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty powerful truth right here, but let me quickly give you this. Now, I want you to see this. I showed you in Revelation chapter 4, verse 3, and I showed you the throne. But let me show you where he lives. That's his position. Go to Revelation chapter 21, real quick now. Watch this. Revelation chapter number 21. Watch carefully, because we're now talking about his position. His position's on the throne. And where's the throne? It's in the city. What's the city? It's heaven. And what then does the precious stones have to do with the city? You're about to learn right here. Watch this. Revelation chapter 21, look at verse number, let me see, I missed my place right here. Here we go. Let's go to, well, just for the fun of it, let's go to verse 15. And he that talked with me and a golden reed to measure the city and the gates thereof and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. Now we're seeing the dimensions of heaven. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is of the angel. Now watch verse 18. And the building of the wall of it was a what? Jasper. And the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of what? Did I not read that back there about the judgment seat of Christ? So what do the precious stones refer to? Not only he that's sitting on the throne, but he that where the throne is, where he's sitting, is in heaven. And it even mentions the precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, and the 11th a jacinth, and the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, and it was transparent glass. I wonder if the city is not telling us about precious stones. Where's God? Is he in heaven? That's his position. So when we build upon the foundation that Christ has laid for us, he's talking about the foundation being, first of all, the gold. That's his person, his deity. Then the silver, that's his passion, he redeemed us. And then the precious stones, that's his throne and the city where he is, where we're going to go. No wonder God does this. He's wanting us to see the importance of our building on the foundation that he has given to us to build on. And I simply say it, and I'll say it again, and then I'll be done. Most Christians do not even realize what's coming at the time of the rapture. They always say, can't wait for the rapture. Well, after the rapture, there in heaven, before we enter into the precious stone city, we're going to find out how we built on that foundation. And as the Bible said here, there'll be those that'll have the wood, hay, and stubble and won't have anything to take in hardly at all to that city before that throne who represents gold, silver, and precious stones. What's the biggest heartbeat of God? What's he want us to do? Well, a number of things. One is, of course, to be faithful. Secondly, he wants us to, of course, stay wrapped in the Word of God and read it daily and believe it, and, excuse me, and obey it. But what you did today, brothers, what I'm talking about, that just loves, and you, Brother Cruz, bringing in those children, letting them hear the gospel, get saved. And as I was passing through, even just very recently, like yesterday or the day before, and crossing the path of somebody, and I stopped and say, "Can I speak with you for a moment?" Surprisingly, looked back. I said, "No." I said, "I'm harmless. I just want to tell you something. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you have not. But God loved you enough to die for you. Did you know that? He wants you to go to heaven to be with him." And I was able to give that person the gospel. I think that is the precious stones. Why? Because that's where that person who accepts Christ will dwell and live forever. But it's also where you'll have the precious stone of being able to see the ones that you led to Christ in eternity with you. Do you have any precious stones that you're sending up there? You pass out gospel tracts regularly everywhere you go? I don't say this braggingly, God knows, I just do it as a habit. But those of you who I've had, and Brother Green has even witnessed it, bless his heart, he's taken me out to eat so much, and I want you to know, I'm available anytime. But he's taken me out, and he'll notice everywhere, and anytime we go, we're always leaving gospel tracts where we are. Because we want everybody to enjoy the precious stone place called heaven. God help us. Would you pray for our church? Pray for the membership of our church, because most of them are going to have wood, hay, and stubble. Because they're not building on the foundation properly. On the person, the passion, or the position. We'll come back to this. Thank you for being patient with me. God bless you. Thank you.